Welcome to Austin Stories. OP's boss has a secret Karen mistress that gets special attention, but then OP just owns this Karen when she's trying to run the equipment that she shouldn't be running, and more. Also, all my videos are in podcast form, so if you like to listen that way, search for the Austin Stories podcast on your local provider or check out the link I'll provide you in the description. Here we go. You know how it's done? Right then. Posted by Anike. So, about 15 or so years ago, I was working in a little metalworking firm. Two brothers owned it, about 30 or so workers, metal casting, further processing up to including wires and other things. Bad explanation is bad. And we had about 5 women working in production, me, my mom, and 3 others. One of them was the unofficial sweetheart of one of our bosses. Anyway, Karen, changing the name for privacy, could not do wrong. Whatever went wrong, it wasn't her fault, ever. I had a run-in with her a few times already, and it wasn't the best. But I'm more of this silent type. Let others do what they want, and I'll do my thing, and so on. Us women were mostly there for preparing the product for sending out, washing metal bits, grinding back seams, sorting the small things into good and broken or not fully cast, and so on. I've been working there summers in the 90s with my gran as the unofficial supervisor, and she showed me the ropes. Later, when I worked there full-time, I knew the ins and outs of things and some tricks that gran worked out along the way. Especially with our washing machines. Imagine them as a big bowl filled with specially formed stones. Add water and cleaning agent, the metal bits, and it would vibrate, and the stones rubbing against the product with soap and water would clean the product from residual oil and other things. One of the machines required a more special touch apart from the throw-in, start, and the done. I've been working there long enough and been shown by Gran and Mom how to set up that machine. I polished the metal on top of it, cleaning with tiny spherical little metal bits. Never cared enough to ask what they were made of. It was enough to know how to use it to make things shine. So, one day, I get a call. Boss is asking if I was washing something at the moment and what I was working on. I told him no, I was done with washing. I was just now drilling the last holes and preparing the product for shipping out. He said he'd send Karen down with something time sensitive, and that was that. Karen comes down an hour later. Crate with time sensitive products has been there for a while, and it's coated with oil, soot, and all things nasty, ready to be cleaned and polished in that special machine. I ask if she needs help or some pointers, since I know that machine is a bit complicated to set up right. She looks at me, dirty and sweaty as I was from actually working, and she was nearly pristine from doing whatever she did with the boss, don't care, keep me out of it, and sniffs. Tells me she knows how to wash them and disappears in the washroom. Well then, if you know... A colleague comes over and asks if she's ever used that machine, and I shrug and tell him, not that I know of. She wasn't very popular there, can you tell? Anyway, I go back to work. Time goes by, lunch, and more time, and then our boss shows up. The product needs to be sent out today. Not long after, there's a shout for me to come to the washroom. Turns out, Karen doesn't know how to use the machine. The whole thing is oily, black, and nasty. Product looks worse than before. She used the wrong cleaning agent, didn't add the polishing powder at the right time, and pretty much screwed the whole thing up. Boss asked me why didn't I say something, help her, intervene, anything. Well, she said she knew what to do and asked colleague if he was there. Door to the washroom is closed, and I have other things to do than to stick my nose where it's not wanted. Do I know how to deal with this problem? Sure. The machine and the stones need cleaning, the product needs cleaning, and it's going to take quite a while. In the end, Karen was allowed to finish my dirty work, and I spent the rest of the day cleaning up her mess. I wasn't allowed to leave the washroom, boss's orders. So, I started a washing cycle with the right agent and no product in it to clean the machine and the stones, sat down and did nothing. and then added the product, more cleaning agent, and powder after the oily gunk was gone, and pretty much spent half a day doing close to nothing while Karen had to do my work. I could have helped her, but us unwashed peasants were not good enough for Her Highness. This is such a good example of the boss has a special friend, and then they just say, oh, they have all these good priorities, they have all this special treatment, they can do anything everyone else can do. Despite, why'd you just put her on the highest material piece of machine there, the one that has the most knowledge? She just goes on there and does her own thing, maybe even without the boss's approval, because when he went there, he was like, what's going on, why didn't you do this or that? I bet you let me know if you think this too, he treated her special because that was his mistress right there, and thought that she could do anything all the other workers could do despite the highly trained equipment. And then it all came crashing down on this Karen. Way to go, OP. Well, I'd tell you to screw yourself, but I don't think you know how. Not quite malicious, but the fallout was intense. Posted by Rad Salamander 51. Disclaimer, names have been changed to protect the people involved. Me, a 19-year-old at the time, Laura was a general manager and both the sweetest woman and the best boss I've ever worked for. Ted, the manager, the arrogance of White Goodman, and the witchy attitude of Lewis Litt. Once upon a time, I used to work for a small chain of diners known for their golden arches. I got hired shortly after graduating high school and had worked there for almost a year when Laura announced to our crew that Ted had been promoted to assistant general manager. This made several people upset because Ted would go on to use his new authority to exchange favors for raises. A few weeks after Ted's promotion, I woke up on a Saturday feeling 50 shades of terrible, but I got up and did my morning ritual before work. When I went into the bathroom to brush my teeth, I saw that my face and neck were physically green, like Vlasic pickle green. But being 19 and terrified of disappointing management, I finished, got dressed, and went to work. I punch in and head to the back to wash my hands, and Laura is the first to say hi. Morning, OP. Oh, baby, what is wrong with you? I don't know, ma'am. All I know is that I feel terrible. Baby, why didn't you call me? I didn't want to let you down. Honey, you are sick. Something's really the matter with you. Laura pulled out her phone and called the nearest urgent care. Hello, I need to schedule your nearest appointment for one of my people. His name is OP. What's your birthday? Now your address. Thank you, ma'am. He'll be right over. Miss Laura, I can't afford a doctor visit right now. Don't you worry about that, honey. I'm going to take care of that for you. After a thorough exam and some blood work, the doctor prescribes me a trio of antibiotics and 4 days of bed rest. Can't remember what I had, sorry. So I called my store to speak to Laura after leaving urgent care. So the doctor gave me medicine and I'm supposed to take 4 days off. Okay, I'm going to double that for you, and don't you worry, I'll make sure you get paid for all of it. A few hours later, I'm laying in bed watching TV and my phone rings. Hello? Yeah, OP, where the heck are you? Is there a problem? You can say that. We're an hour into dinner and your butt is nowhere to be seen. Did you talk to Laura? What the heck does she have to do with you not being here? Did you talk to Laura? I don't need to talk to Laura. Listen, if you're not going on the clock within the hour, I suggest you start looking for other employment. So I did. I got dressed and went to work just like Ted told me and clocked in. And wouldn't you know it, Laura was the first person to see me. What are you doing here? I thought I told you to go home resting. I was, but Ted called me a bit ago and told me either I come in or I'm fired. Did you tell him to talk to me? Yeah, and he said he didn't need to. Is that so? Ted, come back here, please. I'm in the middle of getting my crap mixed. What's wrong with your face? You should have talked to Laura. Ted, OP is going home and he's going to be home for another 7 days. I don't want to hear a word from you about this, understand? Right. The day before I was supposed to go back to work, I got a call telling me that I needed to report to Franchise HQ for a meeting with owner, HR, and Ted. When I got there, I spoke to franchise owner, who informed me that Laura was so enraged by Ted's statement that he didn't need to talk to her about my condition that she called HQ and told them everything. I was then subjected to the weakest apology ever delivered by a member of the human race. After what I gathered was a very serious conversation, Ted had agreed to transfer to the franchise's least profitable store, but not until he'd apologized to me for threatening my job. A few months after Ted's transfer, we were informed that his store folded due to a lack of positive leadership. Apparently, his new employees were less than thrilled to have a womanizer for a boss. Last I heard of Ted, he was a detailer for a local cab company. Laura, however, was promoted to regional manager for the way she looked after her employees. They figured she could teach that to other GMs. We're still good friends to this day. I mean, hey, OP laid it all out there for Ted. He said, hey, if you talk to Laura, she's got the full story. Have you done it? Nope. Have you done it? Nope. And I'm telling you what, so much could have been avoided by this simple line of communication being put together. But Ted, with the energy of Dodgeball, White Goodman, played by Ben Stiller, he talks like this. I've referenced this in another video. He's got that action tough guy voice, like Macho Man Randy Savage, right? Anyway, that's the whole thing. Like, he should have listened. He should have stuck to what his job probably would have said, and this whole thing could have been avoided. But you know what? They get what's coming to them, don't they? Way to go, OP. Karen literally breaks the law and demands everyone else gets kicked out while she does this illegally. Click that story on your screen so you do not miss the funny revenge and fallout that OP gives, and then I'll see you in that next one.